So, as indicated, we are now moving to the next presentation. That's going to be with Dr. Julia Koifman. She is a teacher in the field of special education, and she's someone who is almost like me, speaking a lot of languages.
Hello.
Speaks Russian, Ukrainian, English, Hebrew, French, and that is really outstanding. She's going to be talking about another hot topic, preventing burnout. It happens all the time, ladies and gentlemen, in whatever field of work you do, that we get burned out. We are sort of filled up completely, and we cannot move forward. And our mind is completely covered up. And this is the topic that Julia Koifman from Israel is going to attack for us, preventing burnout. Welcome, Julia.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share my presentation.
Okay. You have the presentation with you, or you
Yes,
sent
yes. I have. I'd like to share my presentation, and could you enable me to do it?
Yes, just go ahead, please.
Well, I can't. I don't know why. It's written that the organizer has disabled this function. Could you enable me to?
Let me see.
Screen demonstration.
All right, I just enabled your system. Go ahead and see.
Okay. Yes, great.
Okay.
Just a moment. Hi. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. My name is Julia Koifman, and I am a teacher. And today I am going to tell you how to avoid teacher burnout. Maybe not only among teachers, but I think it's interesting to all the professionals. It doesn't matter, doctors, lawyers, engineers, and so on. Okay, let me tell you about myself. I was born in Ukraine, but now I live in Israel. And currently I'm a PhD candidate at Atlantic International University. And my thesis deals with special education, teaching the English in schools for special education. I'm an English teacher. It's my second language. And in fact, I speak 5 languages. Russian is my native language. English is my second language because my grandmother was an English teacher, and my father also spoke it fluently, and sometimes they played English with me. Although I lived in Ukraine when I was a child, I didn't speak Ukrainian at home, but it was compulsory. So I studied it at school, and I still speak it quite well. And before I immigrated in Israel 25 years ago, in the late 1990s, I had to study Hebrew. And now I'm studying French. It's my hobby, learning languages. So I speak 4 languages fluently, but my French is still on about A2, between A2 and B2 level. But I hope I'll speak it well too. Yeah, and another hobbies are traveling and planting and sport. In this presentation, I'm going to share my own experience, how I got burnout, and how I overcame this problem. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask you, are there any teachers among the participants of this symposium? Please raise your hands. How many teachers are present here? Okay. Well, and well, so why did you want to become a teacher? Those who teach at school or at university sometimes hear this question, and I'm sure that most of them decided to go to university to study pedagogy, probably because you like kids. It's excellent. Another reason why a lot of people want to become teachers is to finish work at 2 p.m. and to be at home in the afternoon. Also, as a rule, teachers have 2 months off in the summer. And also, we have a lot of vacations, such as national or religious holidays during the year. So all the holidays are ours because we are at home with our kids and families. And the teacher's profession is also good for those who have their own kids. My daughter is a student, but when she was young, I really spent a lot of time with her. But it wasn't always so. I'll tell about it later. Also, teachers, in many countries, teachers have some perks from the school or from the Ministry of Education. For example, vacation somewhere at the seaside, or trips, short trips. Okay, and in many countries, including Israel, teachers have a year off. This year is paid. In Israel, it is called sabbatical year because Shabbat, it means Saturday in Hebrew, or the 7th day of the week when everybody has a rest. So sabbatical year is when you have worked 6 years and on the 7th year, you can stay at home and get paid. So you see, it's a rewarding career. Why? If you like sharing your knowledge and experience with your students and colleagues, it's excellent. When you do so, you get feedback and you get respect. And also, you really enjoy when your students make progress and you are happy to see their results, especially if you teach kids with special education needs. And many of them had problems with foreign languages. In my country, English is a bit difficult for students, for Hebrew speakers, because the letters are different, and Hebrew is not like English at all. These languages are completely different. So it's a challenge to study this language. But when you see the results, you are really happy. And students are happy to attend your lessons, and you really like to teach them. And also you can get promoted. For example, you can be a coordinator, an English coordinator, a math coordinator, or a history coordinator. Or you can also become a vice principal if you want. But on the other hand, we have a lot of worries. And one of the main worries is to get prepared for the lesson every day. You see, although we, the teachers, are perfectionists, but nobody is perfect. And sometimes you manage to prepare a very good lesson, Sometimes you don't have time, or maybe you are worried or frustrated for some reasons, and you are not happy. And you are worried that your lesson was not very good, as you was not as good as you expected. Also, you always think about your students and their progress, because sometimes students don't want to study, or they cheat during the tests and quizzes, or they leave the classroom and say you directly, "Teacher, leave me alone. I have a bad day today. I don't want to study." Such things often happen in special education schools or specific classes where challenging students, or those who find the studies difficult, they have to study in special classes. Also, you worry that kids don't respect you and misbehave. Probably they respect you, and they misbehave because they have a difficult period, especially kids with special needs. Sometimes one student misbehaves and other students do so. I'm sure you agree that it's really frustrating and disappointing. You also worry when your students don't make progress. Such things happen when you have given them a difficult material, although they seem to understand it. For example, grammar, or maybe reading strategies or writing strategies, but when they have a quiz, excuse me, could you turn your microphones off? Thank you very much. Yeah. So when your students get low grades, you worry and you ask yourself, why did they get bad grades? Maybe I'm a bad teacher. And as a result, you worry that their parents might be angry with you, or your principal will criticize you because you have prepared the material not very well. Besides, one of the biggest worries is the salary. You ask yourself, do I get an adequate salary? Usually, young teachers don't have a high salary. Those who have just finished universities, who got a BA degree or an MA degree, but they don't have experience, and they are disappointed and leave school after 3 or 5 years of graduation. But you have to be very patient. If you want your salary to, if you want to be better paid, you have to study a lot. And it's a good idea to take in-service courses, or to go to university and to get an MA degree or a PhD degree. Yeah, it's a good idea. Besides, the longer you work, the more you get paid, because each year of our work enables us to be better paid. But what do some teachers do to earn more? They chase money and they teach afternoon classes. They work in a daycare center. They teach private lessons or teach evening courses in a neighborhood club. or they work in summer camps on vacation. As a result, when they are in their 40s, they get burnt. And both teachers and their students suffer. Also, teachers become very nervous at home. Sometimes they shout on their spouses and children. So nothing good happens. What are the results of chasing the extra money? Their own teachers don't get enough attention from mom or dad. Their husbands or wives don't get enough attention. And the biggest thing is that the teachers work very, very hard and stop being in touch with their relatives and friends and get nervous. What does it mean, teacher burnout? The magazine Psychology Today describes burnout as a state of chronic stress that leads to physical and emotional exhaustion, cynicism, detachment, and feeling of effectiveness and lack of accomplishment. Yeah. As I have already told, teachers are real perfectionists, and they worry a lot. They are achievers. They want their students to see their success and to be successful, to be as successful as their teachers are. But the other dark side of perfectionism is being tired all the time. What are the signs of burnout? Teachers teachers sometimes suffer from headaches and high blood pressure. They have troubles with sleep, or they feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and they have blue Sunday nights. Or in Israel, they have blue Saturday nights, when the next day, in Israel, the week starts on Sunday, but in most of the countries, the week starts on Monday. But it doesn't matter. Just the first day of the week becomes very, very challenging, both for students and their teachers. And of course, students they notice that their teachers are tired, they're not very interested in teaching, and if the teachers are bored, the students become bored also. How to avoid professional burnout? Well, as for the Israeli Ministry of Education, we have minimum 2 days off. On Saturday, it's the national day. It's a weekend, and 1 day during the week. Yeah, it's a good idea to have 2 days off, one on Saturday and another, for example, on Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah. As I have already told, teachers in Israel have the 7th year paid, or sabbatical year. When I started work in Ukraine 25 years ago, we didn't have such perks as a year paid, but in Israel we have. Nevertheless, not all the teachers take this year. They prefer saving money. Also, in special education schools, teachers are provided a 2-day vacation in the country paid by the organization. Yeah. It's very important because you must pay attention on your physical condition, mental condition, and emotional condition. These three conditions are vital for teachers, especially for those who teach students with special education needs or with learning difficulties or learning disabilities, learning difficulties, or learning differences. Just we say LD. What do you need to pay more attention to? In the red, you see some social things. You should spend more time with your family and friends. If you are overwhelmed, you should ask for help from your colleagues, from your family, or friends. You should pay attention to your hobbies, and you should have a sense of humor. Well, in green, you see some physical conditions, such as sound sleep, sport, good diet, relaxation, and vacation. It's very, very important. And in the purple, it's something connected to the time management. You must have goals, but you should have time management. For example, you can have a calendar planner for a week, for a month, for a year, which exams you're going to conduct, which in-service courses you're going to take, what do you want to do to promote yourself? Maybe you're going to study at university. So when you want to start your studying and when to finish. And of course, you should be optimistic. And later, I'll tell you about attending international teachers conferences. Some years ago, I started attending them overseas, and they really helped me. And now I am going to share my own mistakes. Yeah. Perfectionism. Yes, I was a real perfectionist. I spent even up to 2 or 3 hours to prepare a lesson, to prepare for the lesson. It really took me too much time. Yeah, my lessons were very interesting, but I was exhausted. Workaholism. Some years ago, I made more money than my husband, a tour guide, but I was very exhausted. I also took up to 3 in-service courses at the same time. On the one hand, it helped me, but on the other hand, it took all my time because I was busy in the evening and at the weekend. And I also taught private lessons after school and on the weekend. I really worked without break, and it was not a good idea. In fact, it was a bad idea. Well, so what I had to do, of course, I had to look after my health, and I advise you to look after your health. Also, if you have nothing to talk to your colleagues, have small talks. For example, oh, hi, how are you? How was your weekend? What's the weather like today? The weather is very hot, isn't it? So these small talks help you and your colleagues relax. You start talking to them, they answer you, and you really have a good time. Even for 5 minutes, for 5 or 10 minutes during the breaks. You can also have a cup of coffee together during the break and have talks not connected to your work. you can fun with your students. Sometimes we have school trips and we have talks with our students. Of course, you shouldn't waste your time during the lesson. Maximum, you can ask some questions in English if it's a foreign language, or if you teach another foreign language, maybe you teach mathematics or history. You can ask some questions not connected to the lesson, but you shouldn't waste your time. Also, you should learn something new and share it with your students and colleagues. I often go to international conferences, both online and offline. Sometimes I fly to Europe and attend conferences, and then I share the ideas with my colleagues, and I tell my students what I did in England or in France or in Germany and what I saw there. And you can make someone's day. It may be an anecdote, or you can help someone, or tell something interesting or funny. And when your colleague or student tells you, you have made my day, you feel well, don't you? Yeah. Also, you should get rid of toxic people. Unfortunately, sometimes our relatives or friends might give us unwanted advice or ask, well, you are a teacher. What are you doing at school? It's not a good idea to be a teacher. You should leave school and go to teach at university. Or if you are a mathematics teacher, you should go to a high-tech industry. If you are a language teacher, why don't you go to the private company and to work as a translator? Your job is not very good. You don't make good money. Stop it. Yeah, it's really unpleasant. And for me, I think you shouldn't communicate with such people, even if they are your relatives or friends, or just make borders. So you should tell them, sorry, it's not your business. Keep your business. I like my job, and your opinion doesn't interest me. Yeah, but, of course, try to be polite, even if these people are toxic. What else? Usually, I drive to work before the sunrise, and I often get stuck in the traffic jam. So it's a good idea to listen to music while getting stuck in the traffic jam, and not to get nerves that you might be late to work. Of course, you should leave your home on time. If it takes a lot of time to drive, be patient, and in order to relax, listen to music. Well, another way of relaxing is going jogging or walking. If you don't have time to do it in the morning, do it in the evening, especially at the sunset. You see, I live not far from the Mediterranean Sea, and sometimes I do it at the sunset. And if I am exhausted, I just go to the beach and watch the beautiful sunset. Frankly speaking, I still work very hard, and by the end of the day, I'm exhausted to go jogging. Of course, now I work less than I did some years ago, 5 or 7 years ago. Yeah, but you should just change your activities. What else? Go on vacation with your family. This is my family. And sometimes we go on vacation in Israel or abroad. If you don't have an opportunity to go on vacation abroad, you can spend a weekend in the country every 2 or 3 months. If you can, I think it's affordable. It's not very expensive. Well, planting is another my hobby. So you see, this is our patio, and I often spend my weekends planting. Well, as I have already told you, learning foreign languages is another my hobby. I speak, I already speak Hebrew and Ukrainian fluently, and currently I'm studying French. And now I want to pay special attention to attending international conferences overseas. About 7 or 8 years ago, I heard by chance about the IATFL, International Association of English language of English foreign language teachers. Yeah, I wrote a conference proposal and forgot about it. And some months later, I received an invitation. Although I had to pay for the flight and for the accommodation in the hotel myself, I decided to do it. It was not very cheap, but when I attended the conference and gave a presentation, the results exceeded all my expectations, because a year later, I earned a scholarship, and I started publishing in international magazines, and my salary greatly improved because participation in the international conferences was considered by the Ministry of Education as a course, and my salary became bigger. Yeah. So why is it a good idea to attend international conference? First of all, you visit a new place. I have been to many towns and cities in England, Germany, France, Malta, and some other countries. I have been to the United States as a visitor. I visited some family and friends, but I think I will go to the United States to take part in the conference sometime. Yeah, I think I will do it, maybe in a year or two. Let's hope for the best. Besides, you meet new people and make friends with them. Every year I attend conferences, and I'm still in touch with them, with those who I met there 2 or 3 or 7 years ago. Yeah, you give presentations and attend other people's lectures and get new ideas. You really exchange ideas. Also, you can take part in evening events, and these events are held every evening. Sometimes there are concerts or evenings in restaurants and cafes, or just dances. You can go sightseeing in a new place, and Then you have, when you come home, you will have a lot to share with your colleagues. And you might win a scholarship for your next conferences. So did I. It was some years ago when I won a scholarship for learning technologies. And this year, I also won a scholarship for IIT TOEFL. I'm going to Harrogate in England in spring. And I will give a presentation about teaching English to kids with dyslexia. Okay.
Let me also quickly,
yeah.
Julia,
Here are my
if you allow me,
contacts. Yeah.
we need to have about, okay, you're getting to the end. I'm so sorry, I apologize.
Okay, here are my contacts. You can contact me on Instagram, or LinkedIn, or email. Yeah, you can take a picture before I close the window. Okay, and now I am ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. It was very, very entertaining. And, I'm so interested in your topic, Julia, for having been a teacher myself for so long. But I did anticipate that we were going to have many questions. We are beginning, let me see, with Tendai Ferrao. Quick, please, a comment or a question.
Thank you. Tendai Ferrao from Mozambique. Thank you, teachers, all teachers, including the one who was representing. My question is, let me go outside the topic quickly, please, because this point, it's giving me headache as a student also. I know and I acknowledge the effort that we are giving, all of us here. How can AIU certificates, they will be recognized in our countries? How the AIU will help us, please? That is my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
How I was recognized.
Thank you very much, Tendai. I apologize, Julia. It's a question that pertains very specifically to Atlantic International University. At the very beginning, I asked the attendees to try their very best to stay within the topics, because whenever we move out, then there is a tendency with some type of domino effect for us to lose the actual benefits of the symposium itself. I apologize, Tendai, but what I would recommend is to, let's say, write down that question on the chat line, and some other authorities of AIU will take the time to quickly respond to you. I appreciate your understanding. We're gonna go to the next hand up. Sophia Maidel, if you will, please turn your microphone on, and we all ears for your quick comment or question, please.
Thank you for the opportunity you have given me to share something. It's my first time to be on this Zoom meeting. I actually do not have a question, but I just want to appreciate the previous speaker from Israel, Julia. I'm also a teacher, and I think we go through the same challenges, stress, we get overwhelmed, we have a lot of work pressure, but we just motivate ourselves so that we face the day and give what the students deserve from us. So thank you for the presentation. I do appreciate even the first speaker who was encouraging us on how to live a life. Thank you so much. I'm so
You're
much
welcome.
impressed, ladies.
Thank you very much, Sophia. This is indeed within the actual topic of the symposium. The universe is alive. There are so many things, some of which those that Julia just spoke about, so many things I repeat that we can do to avoid burnout, to be on the positive end of the continuum in our life, in our activities, professional activities, and so forth and so on. Thank you for the comment, Sophia, and thank you for sharing that with us. Let's go now to Chris Kasaija. Please turn both your microphone and your speaker on, please. The camera and the microphone. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Valsin. Julia, thank you for a wonderful and motivating presentation.
You are welcome.
It was excellent. It is atlichina and sambusa. And I thank you. Now, my question is to you as a teacher. My thesis in my PhD at the Atlantic International University, I'm looking at children with disability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a public health specialist in Uganda, and my focus now is on early identification and intervention for children with disability. Most of the time, children with disabilities are identified very late. Most of them at school. And at school, most of the time it is negative. You find the teachers taking it negatively, abusing them because they cannot catch up like any other children, especially for subtle disabilities, the disabilities that are hidden, that cannot easily be seen, as opposed to physical disabilities, like learning disabilities and the rest. I'm wondering, in your area of teaching, specifically in Israel or Ukraine, have you dealt with children with disabilities? And you have tools for you to assess these children with disabilities and help them to learn and achieve their potential just like other children? Спасибо.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, there are a lot of tools to raise their motivation. For example, you can provide them games. There can be both online games on computers. But when I attended the conference, people from different countries, including African country and many others, they told me that not all the schools have computers, and not all the families have computers, or just, yeah. In Ukraine, it was the same problem, that families couldn't afford to buy a computer. In this way, I recommend to the remedial teachers to prepare table games with their kids, to spend a lesson to prepare dominoes, lottos, or memory games. I'm sure children will be easy to make them and then to play them. Also, they can prepare posters with English words. Maybe some of them are good at drawing or painting. And you can put the posters on the walls, and especially with sight words. They will see the words and memorize the spelling. It's like a passive learning. When they often see the spelling of the word, they will write it without mistakes. They will avoid misspelling.
Thank you very much, Julia. The world of special ed is one that is fairly complicated, but those are certainly advised that anybody in the field can take full advantage of. Just give them a try, and you will eventually see some positive outcomes. Thank you again. We are going to Muyaldin Abdallah. If you're ready for your question, please, Muyaldin. Turn your microphone on. It's muted at this time. Abdallah, are you following us? Abdallah there we go. Go ahead, Abdallah.
Hi.
Am I clear?
You are.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson and Dr. Edward, for this great opportunity for all students to be part of AIU every day and every hours. Really, we appreciate that. And also, thank you for all audience as well. I want to thank your speakers. They did well, and I think it is a helpful presentation has been shown since the beginning of this symposium. My question is it possible to share with us all this presentation? I know that it can be helpful for all audience for the future. Maybe one of us will be one of your speakers. So it's good if we have this presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think
Very
you can
welcome,
download the
Muyaldin.
presentation above.
Okay, now let me say something real quick. I'm not the one who will be doing that, but from my experience, I can pledge to you that all the presentations that you would have heard today will be sent to all the attendees, including yourself. So just don't worry at all about it. These presentations will be made available to you either through your email or within your portal at the platform of Atlantic International University.
Dr. Belfine, I have put 2 of the presentations so far in chat.
Okay.
But I can go ahead and put them there again, because if someone came in late, they won't see that link.
All right, thank you very much. That's a very good clarification. Then the presentation, like Dr. Lambert just indicated, will be available to you. 2 of them are already there within the chat line. You can go ahead right now if you want and download that presentation. Okay, Friday, Imolwamen. Are you ready for your question? The floor is yours. Friday.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Julia. Am I audible enough, please?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the great presentation. I see that life is not balanced, and life can never be balanced, and that is the truth. Life is not fair to everybody, and there is nothing anybody can do about it, because life can never be fair to everybody, whether you like it or not. Now, as a professional teacher, we know that nobody is exonerated from challenges of life. But I've discovered that from personal experience, that some teachers, because of the challenges they have, they come into classroom with that challenge, and they allow it to affect the innocent children, which they are supposed to impact positively. Now, as a teacher, probably you have some domestic challenges, and you are to teach that very morning. Then you discover that there is something that is called transfer of aggression on innocent children. Dr. Julia, please, what is your advice? How should such teachers who are found doing that should conduct themselves?
Of course, teachers must conduct themselves. I think the basic of success being a teacher is to build good relationship with kids. You shouldn't shout on them. If someone misbehaves, you should ask, excuse me, Danny, what's the problem? Are you having a bad day today? Why, kids, why are you talking? Maybe I hope I'm not disturbing you. Also, just don't shout on them, but be positive, because your positive moods work much better than if you shout on them. You shouldn't. Don't do it. Be positive, and they will respond to you in the same way. And if someone answers back to you, you can ask, excuse me, I'm not ready to talk to you in such tone. So I'll talk to you when you calm yourself.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We are now ready for Barnabas Mack. The floor is yours, brother.
Thank you once again. I will say again that Julia had an elaborate presentation and she left no stone unturned. I want to ask, is there a way of helping an older child whose parents did not identify on time that he had learning deficiency?
What is your
an older child? Let's say an older child turned an adult now. Is there a way? What is the best way to help such child?
What is your stand on that, Julia?
Yes.
Sorry. Excuse me. Could you repeat your question?
I'm asking.
Go ahead.
I'm asking if there's a way of helping an older child, a child turned adult, let's say of the age of 18 now, out of school child, who had learning deficiency that was not detected early enough.
Okay. Yeah, so if child doesn't listen, you should ask, excuse me, are you okay? How do you feel? Sometimes maybe children don't feel well, and maybe they're tired. My students sometimes even fall asleep during the lesson, probably because they take pills. But if you see that the child is bored or maybe in a bad mood, you should ask, what's the problem? And try to involve. If he says, sorry, I don't want to study, sometimes it's better to leave him alone rather than to argue with him.
I agree. Thank you. Ivan, Craig.
Yes, thank you very much, Doc. Ivan Craig, I'm from Zimbabwe, and I'm an extensionist. Yes, Julia, I liked your presentation. It's very good. And what I'm going to dwell on, mine is not a question, but it's a comment which I'm going to give. And you know, looking at the topic on the universe is living. So are you. So the thing is, if you look at the things which you are doing, activities, you know, being a teacher, it's a big plus, because we are looking at an issue where we are catching them young. And when we are talking of catching them young, we are looking at, you know, from an early age and right up to high school. So you are playing an important role in educating the children. But one thing which I have captured and quite interesting is, you know, you exercise, you jog, you walk, sometimes, you know, when you get stuck in the traffic jams, as per your presentation, you find that if you are not fit and if the air is not conducive, you can't wait in a traffic jam for a while. Otherwise, you collapse. So if the environment is good, it means it's living. So for people to be living, we also have to make sure that, you know, we look after the universe. So I like your point of a hobby of growing trees or plants. It's very important because when you are growing trees or when you are growing plants or whatever you are doing on the soil, you are working on the soil and you are making the environment in the soil, the ecosystem conducive for the animals to live. Once the animals underground in the ecosystem actually lives, you find that they also improve the status of our soil and they also improve the growth habits or the growth of our plants up here. And they produce the air we breathe, they filter the air we breathe. They also form the rains which falls in order for us to have water and the like. So really, if I look at what you are doing, you find directly, not even indirectly, directly you are contributing to the living of the universe, and you are also contributing directly to the living of human beings, because for us to live pretty well, the universe must be habitable. And for it to be habitable, the earth looks after us, or the universe looks after us, and we also look after the universe. So really, if we are teaching our children from at an early age as they grow that the earth, the universe lives, and we live just because the universe, we look after the universe and the universe looks after us, you find that the issue of carbon footprint will be able to be reversed, and will be in a position to look after our health and look after our universe, so that we can live even longer, and the earth will not even come to an end just because we are looking after it and it's looking after it. So really, I appreciate your presentation, and it was really good. I learned quite a lot, and let's go back and look at our people. Myself, you find I do a lot of work with the communal farmers, where we are teaching farmers on how to manage and look after our universe, and that is regeneration, which is our farming, organic farming, which is very good for the soil and the ecosystem as well. So really, I'm also a teacher, but I'm teaching elders in the rural areas on the farming part of it. And I always tell them, you can't be a successful farmer, and you cannot leave the land for the new generations to inherit as long as you look after the soil today, or as long as you look after the universe today, for us and our generations coming after us to enjoy the same environment we are enjoying today. So really, let's keep up the good work, and thank you very much, Doc.
Okay, thank you very much, Ivan.
Very well stated, Ivan. Thank you very much. Once again, I want to apologize to everybody, as we don't seem to have time for more questions. I'm going to take just one more, as the next presenter is, waiting, and let's see if we can get. Where is that name again? The name seems to have gone. Okay, let me see. Okay, Magagula, let's take you as the last attendee to ask a question, and we are apologizing once more. If you want to ask questions, even if we run out of time, other attendees, please just put the questions on the chat line, and they will be addressed adequately. Magagula, last question.
Okay. Hello. Okay.
Yes, we are listening.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation from Dr. Julia. I am a teacher myself. I am a lecturer basically, but it's not a question per se, it is just a concern. I am just noticing that for the universe to be friendly and healthy, it needs teachers who always play a key role in being a vehicle for transporting good methods into children, who will make sure that at a very early stage they are taught about how to handle the universe so that it is maintained as friendly and healthy as it should be. Then my question is, how is it done when teachers, the people who are supposed to be the vehicle for making the world or the universe a better place for people, how is it done when teachers are facing so much challenges, which one of them is the one that Dr. Cited as being lowly paid? He cited that teachers are lowly paid, and of course, yes, basically in the developing countries, the salaries are very, very, very much low, and teachers are stressed as they go into the classroom, and that affects their performance. It affects their productivity in the classroom. Then I'm asking, how do they deal with that in their country? Again, how do they deal with the issue of teachers who are not paid according to their qualification? Like in my country, you are not paid as per your qualification. You only get a higher pay when you were appointed into a senior position like that of an HOD, maybe a head teacher. That is the only time then when you are only paid. Otherwise, you are not paid as per the higher qualification that you have achieved. Thank you.
Do you have any stand comment on that, Julia?
It's a good idea. Sometimes I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Israel, Ukraine, Russia, and also in England, sometimes teachers take their kids to the park or to the forest. Sometimes there are green lessons when students see the nature. Sometimes they have lessons in the nature, or students and children have special days when they plant trees in the yard of the school, or just plant some small plants for the classroom, just make their classrooms green. It's also good. And they should throw garbage into the special bins for plastic bottles, for glass bottles, for paper, just to make our planet green. They need to sort the garbage and to try their best to look after the environment.
All right. Thank you very, very, very much, Julia. Your presentation's been extremely outstanding, and it's not only those that are part of the family of Atlantic International University. I am convinced everybody else did enjoy to the fullest extent everything that they've heard so far from you, Julia. Thank you very much, and I wish you the very best.
My pleasure.
Wish you the very best in your life, your professional life, your family, and everything else in your existence in the next 80 or 110 years. That's the time that I believe that you're going to live on top of your current age. Be blessed, Julia.
Mm-hmm.